So let's do a little exercise. Okay, on one side we're going to call it money. And this one we're going to put not money. Okay, and we could do this with any client for anything, but right now let's do it for coaches in this school. Okay, now if you spent time and attention doing stuff on this side, you'll make money. And if you spent time and attention doing stuff on this side, you will not make money. We're not going to put random stuff on here, but I want people to tell me what are things they are doing since joining the school, and then let's put them on the board. Having conversations with people where they know it's not free, do you think that's going to make money or not make money?
Money.
Right, I'll put it intentional conversations. Okay, what else? Okay, now creating resources, I'm going to be really clear here. These are not bad, but is creating resources going to make money or not make money? Not make money. It's not bad, I'm not saying don't do it, but we want to see this, right? Because if all of your time and attention is spent on this side, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to make money. So I'm not saying don't do anything on this side, but you want to see where is your time and attention.
Sharing resources.
Okay, is sharing resources going to make money or not make money? Who says yes? Who says no? You are correct, right? And they're not bad to do, right? I'm not saying don't do it. It can be a precursor to making money, but the sharing of resources does not make money. Steve was ruthless with me around this. I'd have a to-do list of all this stuff, and he'd say, right, which of these is going to make money for you today? And it was really telling. Most of it wasn't. Guess where I was spending most of my time? On the stuff that wasn't. So we'll call it short term. In the short term, what activity is going to make you money? I'll put one on the board, and this might sound silly, but it's called sending an invoice, right? But think about this. How many times you have a list of things to do, and one of them is sending an invoice, and you'll do something else before you send the invoice? Who does that? Right? So there's a bunch of people in the room who've done other stuff except sending an invoice. What's going to make you money? What's going to lead to money in your account quick? It's that. So if you put time and attention on the things on this side first, you will make more money than by the stuff on this side. And I would say most people in the room, they are spending more time on this side than this side. I still fall into this side than this side. All right, what else? Okay, is that a paid group? Okay, is that going to make money or not make money?
Make money.
Yeah, I just put inviting someone into a paid program. Now let's be honest. If that's on your to-do list, how many people do that first versus admin or creating a resource or writing a post? Can you see where I'm pointing to?
Attending AJC.
Okay, is attending AJC going to make you money or not make you money? No. Okay. It won't. And let's be clear about this. You can come into AJC, you can do the whole school and make no extra money at the end. I will add a caveat to that, right? What I'll put on this side is applying one lesson from AJC. The person that applies one lesson and takes action on it, and it could be this lesson, right? Will make money versus the person who does everything and doesn't apply anything, and it's just information. So I'll put that in giving an experience of coaching.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. One of the great ways to create corporate clients or business clients is giving them a half day. Let me show you what I can do. Asking for referrals, is that gonna create income or not create income?
Create.
Who says create? Who says not create? Where are we gonna go? I think it creates.
Yeah.
Having a renewal conversation. Is that making money? Yes. How many people put that off? It's really obvious when we look at it over here, but when we ask ourselves how many of us put that off, I'm guessing it's not just one or two people.
No.
All right.
Making a proposal.
Yeah. Is that going to make money or not make money? Yeah. Being your professional self. It can lead to conversations. The conversations can make money, but it's kind of like, I use the example of online dating, right? We just use that as a different area. And this was me, a long time ago. I remember getting really hung up on like getting my online profile right and doing all this sort of stuff. And then I remember listening to this guy, and he said the purpose of online dating is to get a date. And it sounds really obvious, except it wasn't for me. I was spending all of my time and attention on stuff that wasn't that. And as soon as I changed that one thing, and I would just, if I saw someone online, I was like, hey, here's my phone number. If you think I'm a weirdo, you can withhold your number, give me a call. And I started having conversations. And then very quickly on the conversation, like, would you just like to meet up? I didn't do anything around that, I just was, and I got feedback like, oh, this was really refreshing. Most of the time, well, every time, it didn't go anywhere, but it cut through. It's the same thing with your coaching practice. There's a lot of stuff you can do that looks like it's valuable. Get my website up, read, talk to my colleagues, and it's not bad things to do. But if your time and attention is spent on just that and not over here, you're not going to make money. If you're creating resources, for example, but they aren't creating conversations, then it's not a good use of time. Or if the creating of the resource is taking so much time to end up with one conversation. Now, at the beginning, you might want to test stuff. It might take a bit longer, but we want to see this. We want to always come back to what is going to create income for us. If you do that, your business will grow. It's really obvious when we look at it, and yet we don't often look at that. We fall into our default way of being in life. It's so important to state, because if we think having a coach is going to grow our business, you're mistaken. All of us in the room have coached someone where it made no impact. Just coaching itself, it's not a passive process. Applying what you get from a coach, that can make a huge difference. It has for me. I would not have grown my business without a coach. So for me, coaching is a fixed cost in my business. Absolutely fixed cost. I've never been since 2014 without a coach. And I don't think I will. And I see the same in Steve Chandler. I see the same in Carolyn Freya Jones. I see this with a lot of other great coaches. They treat coaching as a fixed cost. I think Melissa Ford is the same. I think she wrote something about this the other day. And it doesn't guarantee anything, because it's a two-way process. Now applying it, that word is really important. Applying what you get from a coaching session, that does guarantee stuff. So, one of the books I'm really happy to give out, which next is my new book, you're gonna see in that, it's not about being perfect, but it's the lessons I got from the coaching, and then what action steps did I take from it, often imperfectly. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it was 3 steps back and reset. I would put being service in the realm of money if you really understand what being service is. Because you can put being service on not money, because what people think being service is not really being service. It's being friendly, it's being kind, it's being helpful. It's not being service. Sometimes being service, not having a conversation with somebody or putting something in the way of that. I write about this in the book. There was a guy who was referred to me by a friend. We had 2 conversations. He didn't do any of the homework. And by the time we got to the 3rd conversation, I realized this guy's never going to be a client. I could serve him what looked like service in my mind. I could have had a conversation with him for a year. Nothing would change. And so when we got to the third conversation, he was there nice and relaxed. Hey, did you do the thing that I asked you two weeks ago to do, or 4 weeks ago? No, I had been busy. I didn't get around to doing it. I'm really in my head. And he was kind of, metaphorically getting into his armchair, getting a cup of cocoa, ready for another conversation with me. And yet, that wasn't serving him. And so what I said was, hey, we've had a few sessions. This is helpful for you. You've got an experience of what I do. This is my fee. And he goes, I can't pay that. And I go, no problem. Go and listen to the resources I sent you. If you do, they will help you. That's the greatest way I could be in service to him. It's not just always giving your time to people. It's not about being cruel. It's not about being unkind. It's actually the opposite. So being service, caveated, yes, but could also be no. Where would we put that? I'll call it client astonishment. Money. I'd put that in money. Running out of space. And again, it's really understanding what that is. It's not just doing nice things or getting a gift, and you can do that. It's something that's really going to move the client forward. And I know when I started out, client astonishment meant like little gifts or something for clients, or the company I use for my body transformation, they're really good at what they call gifting. And they'll send little gifts, and it's nice to receive, but it doesn't really make any difference in terms of my body transformation. It probably would have been better if they'd given something that would have suited to what I was hiring them for, right? So yes, that is a great example of client astonishment. Is that helpful? Yeah? If the only thing you take away from this weekend is this, it'll make a massive, massive, massive difference to your coaching. Make a massive difference to your income between now and March. It's about applying. So I'd say more than the intent, it's about application. So it's the application of everything, and the coaches I've seen make money. So Karen Davis was a really great example of this. She did Steve Chandler's school, 7, 8, 9 times. I mean, it's a lot of times. And she was making more money than Steve Chandler by the time she was, there at the end. And Steve asked her, why are you coming? And she goes, because I'm applying every time. It might be the same information, but she hears it for who am I serving right now? And then she would take that and she would apply. She wasn't just doing it for fun. I mean, I'm sure it'd be nice to hang out with Steve Chandler and a bunch of coaches, but that's not why she was there. She was there to take something in and then absorb it and then immediately apply it. So she would be at a coaching weekend, she'd hear something and she goes, oh, this is suitable for this client, this is suitable for this prospect, this is suitable for that person. And she would immediately go and put it into action. I fall into this myself. I fall into not money. When I sold Sweet Sharing, my first book, we got 20 pre-orders. And the first week I sold 74 copies of the book, which is actually pretty good. So most non-fiction self-published books sell about 200, 250, something like that. Like the vast majority sell below that. And so Sweet Sharing, so this doesn't include books I've given away, and I've given away a lot, but outside of that, Sweet Sharing has sold over 1,600 copies in the end over 6 years, which puts it in kind of the top 1% or whatever of books. So when this one came out, I was like, oh, let's see. And we had the Rob Cressy masterclass. So I used ChatGPT and I'm asking it, what would be a good, pre-order thing? And it was saying, oh, could aim for a few hundred. I was like, oh, okay. Well, it said 100 to 300. So I go, let me aim for 100. So that's what we did. I remember speaking to Jamie about it, and we got it over the line. And there were certain things I put time and attention into it. So Jamie Smart had interviewed me. He was going to release it this past week. I said, can you release it early? So he released it 2 days early in time for the pre-orders. Eric Lofholm said, how can I help you? I said, well, could you do this? He goes, I'll send an email out. That email got us over the 100. Melissa Ford, I said, look, can I share the books come out in your group? She said, well, we do that in a certain way, but I tell you what, I'll do a Q&A next week and I'll give out copies of your book. So there were lots of things I was doing, time and attention, to get the book out there, right? Does the book make me money? No, it's not money, right? It's helpful. It can lead to other activities that can make me money. It's not a bad thing to do, but it's not money. So the pre-orders went out. So we got 102 pre-orders. And I was thinking, if I get 200 book sales, that'd be amazing. I'd be really, really happy. Well, we hit 200 in day 2, right? We got to 250, we got to 300. So my stretch goal was 300 orders by the end of the week. So we hit that a day and a half ago. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I had a coaching conversation with Chandler. And so I'm asking, hey, you've sold a bunch of books. He sold 1 million books. You got any advice on this? Any thoughts? And he went, yeah, don't obsess about it. And that's what I was doing. It's like every day, like logging on to Amazon going, oh, how many books have I sold? It's quite addictive. Right, yeah, another few have gone out, another few have gone out. And do you know how many copies of The Prosperous Coach have been sold? Over 100,000 copies. Over 100,000 copies. That hasn't led to that equivalent income for Steve. It's not bad for him and Rich. It's given them a profile. They're very well known, but it doesn't replace everything we know about enrollment. And what Steve said, Kush, the way you will make money is applying what's in your own book, not selling books. If I put time and attention on promoting the book, I'll sell more books. That's where I'm putting my time and attention. If I put time and attention in creating clients, guess what I'll create? Clients. And this is the thing that is very misunderstood. We're all being pulled into the thing that is not money, including me, right? We get pulled in that direction. I made sweet sharing helped me make a lot of money, but the way it helped me make money, and this is the way it helped Steve, and Steve coached me on this, was I'd have a conversation with a prospective client. I would send them a copy of Sweet Sharing, and I'd say, start reading this between now and our next session. They would read the book, or they'd read half the book. By the time we had session 2, I want to hire you. I want to know how to apply this to my own life. And you can do that without your own book, by the way. Hardison did that for years with Steve Chandler books or other books. You can do that with Dr. Nathaniel Brandon's book. Hey, I do this with clients. You give it to a client, they start reading it. Second or third conversation, I want to hire you to help me do this. It's not from book sales, it's not from the promotion, and it's not bad, but it's not from that. Liv, may I call on you? Come from behind the camera, come to the front of the room. Give me a round of applause for Liv. Creative genius. Right. So, where's the other mic gone? That's there. Okay, so I'm putting you on the spot. You don't know I'm going to do this. Okay, so Liv, when a year ago, how many Instagram followers did you have roughly?
A year ago, 30,000, and 2 years ago, 200.
So 2 years ago, this man had 200 followers on Instagram. A year ago, he had 30,000 followers. How many followers do you have now?
150,000.
So he's got 150,000 followers on Instagram, right? I don't know if you guys knew that about him. French followers.
Because I
right?
only speak French.
Okay.
It says 150 million, right?
No.
Right? So your Instagram following massively increased over the last year. Yeah. What happened to your business in summer?
It kind of dropped.
Right. So followers going up like this and business going down. Right? Now,
Can you do something for this?
right? So we had a conversation about that. Now what's happened to your business?
Well, it's coming back on track, I would say, but still, we still have to talk about it.
So it's coming back because where's the time and attention going now?
Well, running a business.
Right. So I wanted to bring Liv up as an example of, it looks, who's had that thing, man, if I just get famous enough, this will all take care of itself. Who's had that? Right? It's very enticing. It's very seductive. It looks like it works that way, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't. So when we look at this, it looks like, yeah, but I'll just do a bit more of that. But if there's got to be an exception, right? I know there's a lot of people here going, well, if I got 150,000 followers on Instagram, like, oh, this will be easy. I wouldn't need to be in the school. It doesn't work like that.
It's not.
Yeah. Liv, I acknowledge you for the impact you're having on the French-speaking world. It's incredible. And to speak to Liv, to point, may I challenge that? Because I don't want to just step over the gold, and you might not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. What is the greatest impact we can have on people? What is that? In what sense? Professional relationship. So I really get what you're saying, but I would say Liv would have a bigger impact if we had two options looking at the future. So let's say in a year's time, you have 300,000 Instagram followers versus 150, but your business is at the same level, versus your Instagram following drops by, to 10,000 followers, but you're actually coaching 10 French leaders, for example. That has more of an impact. And I wanted to say that not because I want to take anything away from what Liv's done. It's amazing, but it's coming back to, if what is important is growing the business, there are certain things that we want to put time and attention on, because it's really compelling for me too, to be on this side, to go, I want to have a bigger impact. And that's with the book. I might think, well, there's 100,000 coaches, or the Prosperous Coach has sold 100,000. What can I do over the next 12 months to get the book out to 100,000 coaches? And I know me, if I created that as an objective, I would do it. I will have more impact on the coaching profession if I don't put my time and attention there, and instead put it on the school and my clients like you, and help you go to the next level of your businesses. And I have to be reminded of that constantly, right? Because it's so seductive, and this looks really compelling. It looks really, I coached someone who didn't have the following Liv had, but I coached someone a few years ago who had 20,000 followers on Instagram, and they said, my aim is to have 1 million followers before they hired me. And I said to the client, why? And they looked at me like I was crazy, like, isn't that obvious? And I said, humor me, why do you want 1 million followers? And when they told me all of the things they wanted to create, I said, well, we can just go and do that now. We don't need to have the thing in the way of creating the 1 million. And that's what we created. And his business grew massively over time, and he's doing really, really well. And he never created that on Instagram, and he still uses social media. So it's really understanding that, because it can be tempting to do something that we can see, like Katrina, you said, you can go out and do something and get more book sales, or you can have more people sign up to your newsletter, or you can have the new website, or you can have more views on YouTube, or the followers on Instagram. There are all of these things which are not bad in and of themselves. But when we just follow that, it's unnecessary, and it distracts from what really is making money, and also what's making impact. I remember I was on a flight to LA, and I bumped into these two people. They were both working for, they didn't tell me what company, but they said we were in media. And when they were in media, I mean, they sounded very, 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 very senior, right? Like very senior. So one of the guys was the chief financial officer for one of the movie studios or something, right? Or one of those organizations. And the woman she said I was a country manager or something. Like, they were very, very senior people, and they'd both left. And we were just talking, and they were like, oh, so what do you do? And I was telling her I was a coach, and she said to me, oh yeah, I had a coach, it was really powerful. And she paid, or the company paid £50,000, was it $50,000 for 6 sessions of coaching. She told me the name of the coach, I can't even remember. No one knows who this coach is. And there's people like that out there. And they're impacting people at a very high level leaders, that's making the impact. And they're unknown. I remember when I was talking to Steve Hardison, he goes, Kush, there'll be at least 20 of me in the world. I don't know if there is actually anyone else quite like Hardison, but he goes, there'll be 20 people who are like him that kind of know very little kind of online presence, not very well known. I mean, before The Ultimate Coach came out, it was the only people that knew of Steve was through Steve Chandler, if you read his books. But he didn't go out, that's not how he got clients, he didn't promote himself. For years, he did it as an unknown. He goes, there'll be loads of people out there that are set up somewhere that coach one-on-one, private coaching with leaders or whatever, charging a very high fee. No one knows who they are. And they're making huge, huge, huge impact. And what we can often get drawn to because it's more visible is the Tony Robbins, right? Or the Jay Shettys, or the, whoever who've got big profiles online. And I'm not saying that's a bad model. I'm just saying that it's not the only way to do it. And this is basically what I learned from Steve over and over and over again. Let's get clear on what's money and what's not money first. So this exercise is designed to raise your awareness on the activities that make you money and those that don't, right? Have we done that? Has that kind of happened for everyone in the room, right? So once we have the awareness, then you want to see, where am I spending my time? Now, some of the stuff, you may need to do this, right? Sometimes creating a resource is a great way to create conversations, but you want to be mindful of that. Am I spending all my time here and not here? Okay, then something needs to change. So the more time you can spend here, the more your business is going to grow, right? The other way to look at it is, what am I prioritizing? So I noticed you may have put your hand up when I asked, hey, you got an invoice to send out, but you do other stuff first. Shift that. We used to play a game in Steve Chandler's school, who can send an invoice out fastest. And it got to the stage where people would be sending invoices out on the call with the client. So the client goes, yes, I'm going to sign up. Great. Can you confirm your name? And on the call, the invoice would go. It makes sense. And Steve had me when I was working with Chandler a few years ago on a particular income goal. We'd have everything be about the income goal, and we'd look at it, and I realized how much of my time I wasn't spent on the thing that was going to bring income. And then I'd get to the end and go, oh, why didn't I make the income I wanted? It was really obvious when I saw it. So for you, again, it's being aware of that. And it's not saying don't do this stuff, but have it be appropriate. Again, I think this is in the book. One of my first conversations with Chandler, he asked me, how are you spending your time? And I told him, I had a full-time job, so I work and coach in the evenings, and I go, this is my calendar for the last 2 weeks. And it was filled with speaking to colleagues who were on the coach training course. It was, being coached or mentored by or something. It was like a bunch of stuff, and maybe one conversation with a client or a prospective client. And he goes, this isn't bad. He goes, there's nothing you're doing that's bad. So we've just put money, not money. We haven't put, stuff you shouldn't be doing at all. So we haven't even put stuff on here like, binge watching, Netflix in the middle of the day, right? Which I'm sure no one's here has ever done, right? But I've heard coaches have done that. But we're just looking at the stuff that's still good to do and breaking that down. So he goes, none of this is bad, but if you're spending all of your time, 80% of your time or 90% of my time on things that weren't going to make me money, I wouldn't make money. And as soon as I started working with him, he had me focus on stuff that would make me money, i.e. conversations with potential clients. Guess what? When I started having conversations with potential clients, my income grew. It looked like magic. It wasn't magic. It was cause and effect. It was really obvious. The more you move over here, the more money you'll make. And it's different for every person. There's nuances in this. For example, creating resources, right? Some people love that. Is amazing at creating resources. She does it really quickly to a high standard. So for her, she might go, all right, I'll quickly do that, bang, and she ends up with 5 conversations. That's not bad for her to do, right? For somebody else, doing this will be stressful and painful and not enjoyable. So for example, for me, I year one outsourced my accounting. I was like, it saves me 10 hours of time, but I really didn't enjoy it. And I much more enjoyed 10 hours with potential clients. So I start moving as much as I can over here. And the more I do that even now, it's not about a certain percentage, but the more I move there, my income increases. Again, it's time and attention. I love design. I love that the books look like this, for example. I love the logo. Guess how much time and attention I spent on it? Very little, right? I've got a team for that. If I spend all of my time and attention on this and not on my enrollment, my business doesn't grow. And we can't have this. So it's not about not doing stuff, it's about the amount of time spent on the right things. And that's a great point about ego. Where would you put going on a walk for money or not money? Yeah, I would put it as money. If when she goes for a walk, she typically has an insight which leads her to message a client or a prospective client that leads to income, that's money for her. So this is where context is important. Chandler would say to me, sometimes the best strategy for making money is go for a walk. Because what he would find for him is when he went for a walk, his mind will settle down, he'll have an idea, he would take action, and it would lead to income coming in. Now, that isn't a blueprint, because for someone else going for a walk, they might be like, I need to get back to the desk, what am I doing, right? So it depends, it's context dependent. But the important thing is to look at it for you, what leads to money for you. And it's not even about getting these 100% accurate, it's about raising awareness. And I love the point as well that you can change money and not money to whatever goal the client has versus not the goal versus not goal, right? So if this is, Sean, if you're working with someone to, win a CrossFit competition, it could be like win the competition, not win the competition, right? If it's, changing the culture of a team versus not changing the culture of a team. If it's, recruiting, right? Creating the best team that we've got versus not creating the best team, etc., etc. See, I think there's such an important thing because there's two things that are coming up for me as you say that. It's, on one hand, this is why, follow your bliss, follow your joy is really bad advice for coaches, right? Because it has people fall into this, and it's well-meaning, but there is so much, so much advice around, do what's fun, do what's enjoyable. The business, we're coaches, business shouldn't be hard, it shouldn't be uncomfortable, right? And it's, like I said, it's well-meaning, but it has us do a lot of stuff that doesn't have our businesses grow, which is why so many coaches are still struggling. It's very obvious when you look at it. And the second part, you're absolutely right. This can be fun. This can be really enjoyable. We can make this the most enjoyable part of your business. When you're in a groove where you are doing the things that create clients and clients are signing up, I've noticed it brings coaches alive, right? You're running a program and it's like one person enrolls, two people enroll. It's fun, now you're in the groove. It can be really enjoyable. It's not a static thing. And so part of the reason we're here, or the main reason we're here in this school, is to make this visible and then enjoyable for all of us. I'm not saying don't do fun stuff, do the stuff that's uncomfortable, and the way to grow your business is to be in kind of hustle and grind. That's not it. But it does mean often leaning into what looks uncomfortable at first glance.